Nebraska agriculture officials are on alert after an infectious disease has been confirmed in a horse in the east central part of the state.
It's called equine infectious anemia, or EIA, and it was confirmed in a horse in Colfax County west of Fremont. It's the first confirmed case in the state in more than a decade. The horses at the location were quarantined and will be able to leave quarantine after certain conditions are met.
EIA is incurable, infectious. It's an infectious viral disease that's spread through blood-to-blood contact, most often by blood-feeding insects such as horseflies, deer flies, and stable flies. Common signs include fever, depression, low platelet count or anemia, and muscle atrophy.